It began as a whisper, a classified idea buried deep inside the shadows of power. In the early years of the Cold War, fear became the most powerful weapon. Not fear of bombs, but fear of the mind itself. What if thoughts could be controlled? What if a human being could be turned into something else, something obedient, something programmable? Behind locked doors and beneath layers of secrecy, a project was born. A name that would later echo through history like a warning. MKUltra. At first, it seemed harmless. Volunteers, or at least that's what they were told. Soldiers, students, ordinary citizens, all stepping into something they could never fully understand. They were promised purpose, progress, even patriotism. But what awaited them was something far darker. The experiments began slowly, small doses, observations, reactions carefully recorded. Scientists watched from behind glass, taking notes as the human mind started to unravel. Chemicals were introduced, substances that distorted perception, fractured reality, and opened doors inside the brain that were never meant to be opened. But it didn't stop there. The doses increased, the control tightened. Subjects were isolated, restrained, broken down piece by piece. Sleep deprivation, sensory overload, looping sounds designed to erase identity itself. Voices repeated commands again and again until they blurred with the subject's own thoughts. The line between who they were and what they were being turned into began to disappear. Some screamed, some begged, some simply went silent. And that silence was the most terrifying outcome of all, because silence meant the process was working. Outside the labs, the world carried on as if nothing was happening. Families ate dinner, children laughed, cities moved. But hidden among them were people who had been changed permanently. Individuals who no longer trusted their own minds, who heard echoes where there should be none, who felt watched, controlled, even long after the experiments ended. Or did they? As the years passed, cracks began to form. Documents surfaced, whispers turned into allegations. Journalists started asking questions that no one wanted answered. Files marked top secret began to leak, revealing fragments of a truth too disturbing to ignore. Interrogations, drug trials without consent, attempts to create the perfect controllable human. The government denied everything. Of course they did, because admitting the truth would mean acknowledging something unthinkable, that the greatest threat wasn't an enemy nation, but the system itself. Some of those who worked inside the program couldn't live with what they had done. Haunted by memories, they tried to expose it. Confessions recorded in secret, evidence hidden, passed from hand to hand. But for every truth that surfaced, another was buried. And for every voice that spoke out, another was silenced. People disappeared. Accidents happened. Stories were dismissed as paranoia. But still, the truth refused to stay hidden. One survivor, years later, described it in a way that still sends chills down the spine. He said, "The worst part wasn't the pain, or the fear, or even the loss of control. It was the moment he realized his thoughts were no longer his own, that something or someone could reach inside his mind and rewrite who he was." Even now, decades later, questions remain unanswered, files missing, records destroyed, names erased. And yet, the fragments that survived paint a picture too clear to ignore. This wasn't just an experiment. It was a line crossed, a moment in history where power went too far and humanity paid the price. And the most chilling part? Many believe it never truly ended, that somewhere behind closed doors, the research continued, evolving, advancing, waiting. Because once you discover how to control the human mind, you never really stop trying.